Hello and welcome to Middle Eastern Thursday. So today I have for you a total of 16 fragrances. So when I was thinking about what content I wanted to share with you today, I thought, it's been quite a while since we've had a Gourmand Middle Eastern fragrances lineup. So today it is all about those fragrances that make us smell yummy. Some of them will make you smell like a delicious, scrumptious dessert, but others will not make you smell like food, but they'll still have like a yummy quality to them. But what I can tell you about all of these fragrances is that they are absolutely exquisite. And you really can't go wrong with any of them. The question is, what do you prefer when it comes to notes that are specific to gourmands? And of course, you can pick from there. I have not just new or recent releases, but I pulled a couple of oldies but super goodies that I haven't discussed with you in quite a while and that I wanted to give some love. As I go along, I'm not going to be sharing them in any particular order, and while I am going to give you some details, of course, you know how I am not, though, going to be doing a full detailed review because all of these fragrances have been reviewed on the channel before. But let's go ahead and jump right in because we have quite a bit to cover. But before we do so, if this is your first time here, I'm Rehab, and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and on this channel, we love to talk about all types of fragrances. So if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go. So the first fragrance that I want to share with you is a fragrance from Emir Paris Corner, and this was one of my first ever affordable Middle Eastern fragrances. So I'm really excited to pull it because it's been a while since I have featured it in a lineup for you. Now, for those of you who have been with me since the beginning of my affordable Middle Eastern fragrances, I am sure that you will remember how many times I discussed with you Emir Paris Corner Forbidden Sugar. And here is the beautiful, beautiful bottle, a very modern and sleek design for the bottle. Now, this is a fragrance that at first sniff will remind you of Frank Boclet's Sugar fragrance. This one is Forbidden Sugar, but I can tell you there is nothing forbidden about this sugar because this is a fragrance that has fruity notes, some woody notes, and it has a lot of gourmand touches to it. But ultimately what it is very, very sweet. It is an almost bordering on sickly kind of sweet fragrance. So this is not going to be for everybody because it is truly very, very sweet. Some of the notes, for example, at the top, it has marshmallow, honey, coconut, cassis, and bergamot. And I can tell you that I clearly pick up on that honey note. The honey note is not funky in any kind of way. It's been done very, very nicely, but it is a very dense honey note. It's not like a diluted with anything else kind of honey note. It is very syrupy. It is very dense. And I do pick up on the marshmallows, but in a faint manner, because for me, it's more about that sweetness of the scent with that very, very present honey note. I do pick up on the coconut, but the coconut does not play a stellar rose to my nose or on my skin whatsoever. In addition to that, then you have vanilla, caramel, peach, pear, and jasmine, violet, raspberry, musk, and orange blossom. Now for me, from all of those notes here, you're going to find a ton of vanilla. The orange blossom is definitely a floral that is very present. For me, the orange blossom and the violet are the ones that play a critical role when it comes to the florals. The dry down does have a bit of powderiness, but not very much because again, the fragrance is all about that sweetness. It is an overload of sugar, I tell you. You are going to pick up on the caramel, you're going to pick up on the honey in the olfactory journey, but at the dry down, what you are going to get is a scent that is musk based to the tune of a level 2 to 3, not animalic in any kind of way, but definitely a present musk that is very, very sweet with touches of gourmand that give it that yummy quality. It is truly a very yummy fragrance. Again, I don't think that this is for everybody, I don't even think that this is a safe blind buy, because the question is, will you be able to handle that excessive level of sweetness that you will find in this scent? The next fragrance that I want to share with you today is from the Shaghaf collection of Swiss Arabian, and this one is Vanilla Toffee. And Vanilla Toffee is a fragrance that I hauled, I think it was just this year that this was launched. If it wasn't this year, it was maybe at the end of last year. No, but somehow I feel that it was during 2025. But anyway, this is a fragrance that has some toffee, coffee, vanilla, walnut, dates, milk, cardamom, brown sugar, Madagascar vanilla, vanilla caviar. So 2 double whammies of vanilla, tonka bean, woody notes, benzoin, and musk. Now, this is a fragrance that is absolutely, to me, this is really all about the toffee and the vanilla. What I get in this fragrance from beginning to end, it is not linear. You are going to pick up on the dates and some of the other notes here and there. But now that this one has had a chance to sit, to me, this scent is really about the vanilla and the toffee. And at that, it is incredibly yummy. You are going to smell like a dessert though. I'm not going to label it with any specific dessert, but just imagine the scent of a sweet vanilla and toffee kind of dessert of some sort, where maybe you even have like a fruity presence, like with dates or something like that. That is what I get from this incredible fragrance. The performance is exceptional. The compliments are there. And if you are a gourmand lover, you just cannot go wrong with Vanilla Toffee. The next fragrance that I'm going to share with you is from French Avenue, and this is Royal Blend Sequoia. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, if you watch all of my Middle Eastern Thursday videos, you know that this is a fragrance that has been really making the rounds on our channel for a while, because from the first moment that I received it, I fell in love with it. And I told you that to me, this is like a masterpiece. This has been done so, so beautifully. So this is a fragrance that upon first sniff will immediately remind you of Kilian Angel Share Paradise. That is a fragrance that I own and that I have a dedicated review for here on the channel. And I've already reviewed this one. And I can tell you that the similarities are just unbelievable. It's like to the tune of 95%. I'm not here to talk about or compare fragrances that were inspired by another today, but when it comes to this one, it is just amazing to me. So this is the fragrance that has, as notes at the top, raspberry, liquor, and cognac. At the heart, it has rose and moss. And at the base, it has praline, oak, and sandalwood. But this is a fragrance that is sweet. It opens boozy with a very present raspberry note. The raspberry note for me is more of like a raspberry liqueur kind of note, where the raspberry is very, very juicy, sweet, and realistic. There is nothing synthetic about, that raspberry note. Very, very nicely done. You are going to pick up on the rose, but the rose does not play a critical role in the scent of this fragrance. This is really all about that booziness with those woody notes at the dry down, a tad of spiciness, which I can't even remember if it's been disclosed, but I do pick it up, specifically the note of cinnamon, and I have shared that with you time and time again. And of course, that raspberry, which is very, very distinctive. An incredible fragrance. It will not necessarily make you smell like food, but it is going to make you smell like a fruity liqueur of some sort, specifically raspberry. That's what you're going to smell like. And on a backdrop of like some woodiness. Beautiful, beautiful scent that I highly, highly recommend. It is continuously sold out, but if I find it, I will definitely leave a link for you in the description box of this video, right along with a link to all of the fragrances that we're discussing today. The next fragrance that I'm going to share with you is one that has been in my collection also for quite a long time. As a matter of fact, this is my second bottle, because the first one, I made it maybe 3/4 of the way, and then I did give the rest to a friend. But what I am speaking about is a fragrance that is very, very special. And it is also one of the first gourmands that I ever hauled here on the channel once I decided to do a deep dive on affordable Middle Eastern fragrances. And this one is from Emir Paris Corner, and this is Frenetic Delicieuse. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, Frenetic Delicieuse is supposed to be a fragrance that as soon as you sniff it will remind you of Dior Fève Delicieuse. In this fragrance, you're going to find lavender, mint, and bergamot at the top. In the heart, a sour cherry note, jasmine, and freesia. And at the base, tonka bean, praline, cedar, vanilla, sandalwood, cacao pod, benzoin, caramel, leather, and milk. Now, this is a fragrance that is truly, absolutely delicious. But let's talk a little bit about this fragrance, because if there's one that I have received questions time and time again about, is definitely this fragrance, because it does have a present note of leather. And to some, that does not sit very well. Like, it's not a note that they really appreciate in the entire composition of the scent. For me, that is what makes the fragrance even more interested and gives it like character and oomph, because the leather has been done in a very smooth way, but the leather is present. It's not faint. And combined with all of those gourmand notes in what I would describe as a very yummy scent, is quite different. This is a fragrance that does remind me of Fève Delicieuse for sure, but this one to me has a bit more vanilla, and the leather note, now that this one has been sitting for well over a year, I can tell you that that leather note is not going anywhere. So this is also another one that I really recommend, unless you are a leather fragrances lover, I really recommend that you try it first before committing to a full bottle, because that leather note is definitely there. The fragrance is sweet. It does have a floral presence to it. It opens very sweet because it is a very sweet scent, okay? But at the same time, there's a little bit of airiness to it, courtesy of some citrusy notes and the note of lavender. In addition to that, there are other florals, but I would say like right after the opening, you start to pick up on a very, very present cherry note. The cherry is not like a fresh, juicy cherry. No, there's a bit of tartness to that cherry. It is a bit sour, but what I really get is a bit of tartness from that cherry scent. At the dry down, you are going to have a collection of so many notes, but you're not really going to distinguish them because the blend has been done just beautifully. You are definitely going to have a scent that I would say is more of a fit for like late afternoon into the evening and late night. This is not one that I would necessarily wear to the office because it is really sweet, but it's also kind of like a boozy kind of scent for me. I know that not everybody gets that, but I definitely get it. But this is a very delicious and yummy, absolutely incredible scent. Let us know if you've tried it and your thoughts. The next fragrance that I want to share with you is from Lattafa, and this one is Mayar Cherry Intense. And here is the beautiful bottle. Now, Mayar Cherry Intense is a fragrance that I had to bring into this lineup because it really is one of my favorite cherry fragrances within the affordable Middle Eastern fragrances, right? Because it is such a versatile cherry. Let me just start by sharing the notes before I talk to you a little bit about the scent, because this is another one that has had a chance to sit over 6 months at this point in my collection. So in the opening, you have strawberry and bergamot. In the heart, you have cherry jam and cacao. And at the base, you have vanilla, amber, and patchouli. So this is a fragrance that is very ambery, but it has such a, I don't want to say beautifully done sweet cherry, because the cherry here is not necessarily like a fresh, luscious, sweet kind of cherry. No, this is really, to me, a jammy cherry. That is the best way to describe it. But at that, the scent of that jammy cherry is very much about the cherry. There's nothing synthetic about the scent. What that jamminess, in my opinion, does, or at least to my nose and on my skin, is it makes it a cherry scent that is like very like dense and ambery and goes very well for cooler weather, but somehow you can even get away with wearing it during warmer weather. I have tried this fragrance during a very hot summer day, and that did not go very well for me. But I have to tell you that other than that, this is a fragrance that you can use for any occasion. It does open sweet, very fruity. I don't necessarily anymore pick up on the note of strawberry. The strawberry for me was never a real factor. If I recall correctly, I did pick up on it like faintly, but this fragrance is all about the cherry. And when they decided to call it cherry intense, it is for a reason, because it really is about the cherry. Another thing that I want you to know is that the note of cacao, now that this one has had a chance to sit, that note of cacao is coming through clear. And it's almost at times giving me like a scent of like a chocolate covered cherry bonbon type of scent. I mean, truly, you know, the type of bonbon that when you bite into it, it has like that jam, like that jelly kind of jam that's really the cherry and all the juices inside. That's what I get most of the time from this scent at the dry down. But for the most part, what you are going to get is that very, very dominant jammy cherry scent. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance that is going to make you smell yummy or like a chocolate covered bonbon, because it will, in my opinion, make you smell like that. Let us know if you picked up this fragrance, because I know many of you did give it a try. The next fragrance that I have for you is one that, if I recall correctly, I did share it with you in a recent lineup, but I had to pull it today because it is such an incredibly beautiful gourmand, perfect for the season that we're in, by the way. And this one is from Aroma Concepts, and this is Ginger Babe. Now, Ginger Babe is a fragrance that as soon as you sniff it, it's going to remind you of Jo Malone Ginger Biscuit. Truly. That is a fragrance that I own. I've already reviewed this here on the channel for you and compared it to that fragrance, but I can tell you the scent of this, and this one has also been sitting for quite a while. This is truly a like ginger snap cookie for sure. This is a ginger cookie all the way, truly all the way. So let me go ahead and share with you the notes. But at the top we have ginger, and it has cinnamon and nutmeg. At the heart, caramel and hazelnut. And at the base, vanilla and tonka bean. I can tell you that I don't even pick up any of that, because now that it's had a chance to sit, what I get at the dry down is truly a ginger snap cookie. And at that, it reminds me to the tune of 98% of Ginger Biscuit that, you know, Jo Malone scent. Truly an incredible gourmand that I highly recommend if you want to smell like a ginger snap cookie, because that's what you're going to get. Let us know if you've tried it. The next fragrance that I have for you is from Khadlaj, and this one is Nua Vanilla Pearl. And look at this gorgeous bottle. This is one of my favorite bottles. It is just so, so beautiful. So this is a fragrance that allegedly should remind you of Jo Malone Raspberry Ripple. That is not a fragrance that I own. I did get a sample. At the time, I did compare it to that fragrance for you. And yes, you are going to be reminded of that Jo Malone scent. But this is a fragrance that has as notes. Let me share with you the notes first. Blackcurrant, strawberry, and freesia. At the heart, it has raspberry, cashmere, wood, and magnolia. And at the base, it has vanilla, caramel, and moss. Now, this is a fragrance that has quite a bit of white florals, and it does have a fruity presence, but it has a ton of vanilla. It is a scent that is definitely sweet. But what I love about it is that although this is not a freshie, the scent is one that you could easily wear all throughout the year for any occasion, day or night. It is just a very, very easy pull kind of gourmand. While you are going to smell very yummy, you're not necessarily going to smell, at least not in my opinion, not anything that I've ever encountered. It's not going to make you smell like a specific dish or make you smell like food. But the yummy factor is definitely there. Let us know if you've tried Nua Vanilla Pearl and your thoughts. The next fragrance that I'm going to share with you is one that when I first hauled it, I was not very sure that it was going to be a love for me, but it has now had the chance to sit for such a long time. And when I pulled it after months and months of sitting, I was totally taken by the beautiful, yummy scent, which, by the way, does not remind me of any specific dessert or dish, but the yumminess, you cannot deny the level of yumminess of this scent. And I am speaking about Lattafa Pride, and this is Artisan Ethnique. Now, this is a scent that is supposed to remind you of a born to stand out fragrance that I do not own, which is Sugar Addict, if I recall correctly. So if you own this fragrance and you also own or have a decant or have had the opportunity to try them both, can you let us know in the comments section if you really believe that this fragrance will remind you of Sugar Addict? I don't know what Sugar Addict is about, but what I can tell you is that this is an incredibly yummy, sweet, very alluring, and also like bordering on seductive kind of scent. This is a fragrance that has at the top rum, cinnamon, and sugar, at the heart caramel, cacao, coffee, and oak moss, and at the base vanilla, tonka bean, cashmere wood, and labdanum. Now, when I first heard that, this was supposed to remind you of another fragrance called Sugar Addict, I thought, uh-oh, this is going to be very, very sweet. And when I first tried this fragrance, I don't know why, but I wasn't getting much of anything. But I can tell you now that this is a scent with quite a bit of personality and done beautifully. Something very, very different in my entire collection. It has tempted me to try that Sugar Addict fragrance again, because I know at some point I had a sample or something, but I did not make it a point to use it enough to decide if I wanted to pick up the full bottle or not. But this is incredible. So let us know what your experience has been, but I highly, highly recommend that you at least try this fragrance because you may be quite impressed. And I will tell you though, you're going to need patience because remember, I just shared with you that I had to wait quite a long time in order to really enjoy and appreciate this fragrance. But now it is a definite love. This is another fragrance that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on because I just featured it in a lineup maybe about 3 weeks ago or less. And this one is from Maison Asrar, and this is Vanilla Voyage. And look at this gorgeous bottle. I just absolutely love this bottle. So this is a fragrance that has created, quite a bit of contradiction because many say that this one reminds them of Bianco Latte. Others say about other fragrances. I'm not going to get into all of that today, but what I am here to tell you is that if you are looking for a loaded with vanilla, creamy, kind of like buttery kind of scent that is also very lactonic and sweet, this is the fragrance that you definitely at least want to try. This is a fragrance that has sold out so many times and they keep bringing it back and it keeps selling out. This is a very addictive scent, but also a very like sensually alluring kind of scent. This is to me perfection for date night. Like if you want to wear something that makes you smell sensually yummy, this is definitely it. There is just something about Vanilla Voyage that makes it very, very addictive. The scent will just take you and definitely keep you on a chokehold. So at the top, it has caramel and butter. At the heart, it has tonka, honey, and jasmine. And at the base, vanilla, amber, and musk. I don't even pick up much on the musk anymore in this fragrance. What I really get is that it's a very ambery scent that again, has like it is very lactonic. It is very sweet. It has a ton of vanilla, but there's like a buttery quality to it that I can't even explain. I'm not smelling like a butter cake, like a very buttered cake or anything like that. No. It's just that that's what I get from the scent. It doesn't necessarily remind me of a specific dish, but it does give me very much a yummy feel and a yummy vibe, absolutely. Anyway, let us know if you've tried Vanilla Voyage and what are your thoughts. Do you agree with everything that I've said? Because every time I wear this fragrance, it just amazes me because that's really what I get from it. This next one is one that, wow, when it first came out, it went viral immediately. Actually, I think it was viral before it was even launched because it was really something else. And this is from Lattafa, and this is Victoria. And here is the beautifully different, but I really enjoy this bottle. There are some that really don't like this bottle. So this is a fragrance that as soon as you sniff it, it's going to bring to memory immediately Dolce & Gabbana Devotion. This is a fragrance that to me, smells just like devotion, like a warm, recently pulled out of the oven, lemon, very, very buttered pound cake, moist, warm, buttered lemon pound cake that has been drizzled with powdered sugar on top. That is what you're going to get. That is what you're going to smell like. The notes that have been disclosed are meringue pie, lemon meringue pie, neroli, and vanilla. To me, what you're going to smell like is what I just said. Let us know, because I know many of you have picked up this fragrance, but if you want to smell like an incredibly delicious, recently pulled out of the oven, buttery, warm lemon pound cake, this is your fragrance. This next fragrance continues to this day to be one of my top favorite launches of 2025. This fragrance is absolutely incredible. If you are a gourmand lover and you have not picked up this fragrance, I don't know what you're thinking, because I am sorry to have to tell you, you are really, really missing out. This is from Paris Corner, and this is Marshmallow Blush. Oh, wow. Check out this beautiful bottle. Very, very nice. But the scent, the juice itself. So let me just start by saying that as soon as you sniff this fragrance, it's going to remind you of Kayali's Yum Bougie Marshmallow for sure, okay? Now, let's go to the notes. The notes here are strawberry, raspberry, lemon. At the heart, you have ambroxan. Unfortunately, for those of you sensitive to ambroxan, this is not for you. It also has orange blossom, and at the base, marshmallow and musk. This one has had a chance to sit for months and months in my collection, but for me, it delivered from the beginning. But now, it's even more intense. It performs even better. Not that it ever had performance issues on my skin, but it wasn't beast. But now it borders on beast on my skin for sure. This is a scent that is lactonic, fruity. You're going to pick up on that strawberry and that raspberry, and then some that I really believe has not been disclosed. And there is an opening that is a bit airy, courtesy of some citrusy notes. But at the end of the day, this is an overload of vanilla with a very sweet marshmallow note with some fruitiness to it that is just absolutely exquisite. This is one of those that is not making me smell like a specific dish. I can't recall a dessert that I would say that this is making me smell like. But what I can tell you is that you are going to smell yummy beyond recognition. This is an absolutely exquisitely done, definite, one of the best of 2025 gourmands. Anyway, let us know if you've tried Marshmallow Blush, because I know many of you did pick it up, and your thoughts. This next fragrance I have featured so many times here on the channel because it is an absolute love. If you are a gourmand lover, I am telling you, you need to give this one a try, because this is really exceptional. And this is from Paris Corner, and it is Date Caramel. Now, Date Caramel is a fragrance that, as soon as you sniff it, it is going to not remind you, no, it's going to put you in the exact same mental space that you are in when you spray the body mist or the body spray from Lush, Sticky Dates. This is unbelievable. I own Sticky Dates, and I can tell you that this is to the tune of, like, now that it's had a chance to sit, like 98%. So this is a fragrance that has, as notes at the top, dates, coffee, and orange. At the heart, it has caramel, sugar, and benzoin. And at the base, it has vanilla, amber, and sandalwood. But when I tell you that you are going to smell beyond delicious. And I can't really tell you that this reminds me of a specific dessert, but what it reminds me of clearly is Sticky Dates. This is really very much about the note of dates, a ton of vanilla, and a very nicely done coffee note that is not going to make you smell like a barista, but it is present. It's just like a little bit faint, and it's not even faint. I just think that the blend here has been done so well that it doesn't allow for any screechiness from any note. I do pick up on that note of orange in the opening, but it comes in with what's immediate to me, like that note of coffee. The fragrance does have a spicy quality to it, which makes it warm, spicy, and it is very ambery. So for me, this is perfection for the seasons that we're in now, which are fall and winter. Absolutely incredible fragrance that I cannot recommend high enough. If you are a gourmand lover, this is a must. Think no more. Believe me, unless you are not into the note of dates, the coffee doesn't matter because that's not the king or queen of this scent. It's all about the dates, the vanilla, in that ambery quality scent that is just absolutely exquisite. Let us know if you've picked up or tried Day Caramel. The next fragrance that I want to share with you is from Gulf Orchid, and this one is Dark Chocolate. Now, dark chocolate is a fragrance that from the beginning I've been telling you that I really do enjoy. I've enjoyed it from the beginning. Now, you may recall that towards the beginning of 2025, there was like a slew of like chocolate-centric fragrance releases. We had so many of them. And for this lineup today, I decided to only select one. And this is the one that I went with. We had everything from Dubai chocolate inspired fragrances, from pistachio kunafa inspired fragrances, from just dark chocolate to milk chocolate to white chocolate and milk chocolate, white chocolate and dark chocolate. It was just a collection of chocolate centric fragrances. And dark chocolate stood the test because this is truly the one that I prefer when it comes to the dark chocolate. Now, this is a fragrance that allegedly should remind you immediately of one of my favorite Xerjoff fragrances, which is Symphonium. I have not only already reviewed this fragrance here on the channel, but I've also reviewed Symphonium several times because I absolutely love it. I have to tell you that at the beginning, when I received this fragrance, I was not getting Symphonium to the tune of what I'm getting it now, because this has been sitting for months and months, and I can tell you that it is giving me Symphonium. There are negligible differences that I will not discuss today because I'm not doing a comparison video, but what I can tell you is that this is an incredibly well done, very sophisticated, very alluring and sensual kind of dark chocolate scent. But let's talk about it. Okay, so as the notes at the top, we have cardamom and mandarin, chocolate, cacao, jasmine, and anise. At the base, we have vanilla, amber, musk, and labdanum. So let's start by talking about the fact that this is definitely a dark chocolate, but this is not a bitter dark chocolate. That is the one thing that made me immediately separate or set this one apart from the others that are also dark chocolate centric. And they are all kind of really good, by the way, but the way that the dark chocolate has been done here, so there is a spicy quality to this scent. There's also a certain degree of citrusiness to it. It almost gives me like those chocolate bars that have been infused with like citrusy, with like a citrusy scent. That is what I got at the beginning. Then I started to clearly pick up on Symphonium. And now I already told you where I've landed. But I do clearly pick up on the cardamom. The dark chocolate here is definitely a dark chocolate, okay? But it is not bitter. It's not one of those dark chocolate bars that's like 94% or more, you know, real cacao. No, it is definitely a dark chocolate, but it is not bitter, not to my nose or on my skin. Now, in addition to that, you are going to find that the fragrance is very ambery and it does have a good bit of vanilla. Not an excessive amount, but it definitely does have vanilla, and it is a sweet scent, but not very sweet at all. It is like, I would say, a bit sweet. It's not even sweet. No, it's a bit sweet because it's really not about that sweetness. And the sweetness that I pick up, by the way, is definitely, in my opinion, coming from the note of vanilla. But all in all, this is, if you are looking for an incredible dark chocolate scent that will not make you smell specifically like any dish, but it is going to make you smell yummy, and that is very sensually alluring and very elegant and sophisticated, very elevated kind of dark chocolate scent, this may be the one you want to try. Now, I know many fam members picked up this fragrance, so if you did, please let us know what your experience has been and how you feel about it. So this next fragrance is one that I really struggle whenever I have an affordable Middle Eastern fragrances lineup. I really struggle not to pull it. But I haven't given it love in a while, so I decided to pull it today, and it definitely deserves it. And this is from Rehab, and yes, this is Choco Musk. And here is the gorgeous little bottle. Now, this is, and for those of you who have been with me since the beginning of my affordable Middle Eastern fragrances, you know that this is my second bottle because initially I just picked up like a large decant. I think it was like a 10 or 15 ml or something like that. And I started working around that, and then I picked up the bottle, and then that one went away because I love to layer with this scent. But let me go ahead and share with you the notes before we talk a little bit more about it, even though I'm not going to spend a lot of time because I think we're all very familiar with Choco Musk and how incredible it is. So here we have vanilla, chocolate, musk, spices, cinnamon, amber, santal, woody notes, and rose. So let me tell you right now that this to me is all about a ton of vanilla on a musk base where you have the note of chocolate being the star. But the chocolate is not like a dark chocolate for me. To my nose and on my skin, this is a mix of like a milk chocolate and a dark chocolate. And together, they will give you a very balanced chocolate effect that is also quite sweet. But I think that the one that sweetens this scent is really the vanilla. At that, all of that on a backdrop of definitely a musk base and a little bit of woody notes that give the scent quite a bit of character. But that is what this is about. But this is an incredible fragrance. So please let us know, because I know many of you own this scent. So please let us know your thoughts. Next, I want to share with you one of my favorite coffee fragrances, period. Across the board in my collection, this is really one of my favorites. It was a deep love at first sniff. If you were with me for the haul, I'm sure you will recall my reaction. This is just incredible. And it's from Khadlaj, and this is Mocha Latte. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, Mocha Latte, what do I love about it? This is truly an exceptionally done coffee-centric fragrance, finally. So through my journey, I have hauled and I have tried with you so many coffee-centric fragrances, and I always tell you, I am not interested in smelling like a barista. But here it has been done to perfection, because while you are going to smell like coffee, you're not going to smell like a barista. There is a refinement to this scent. This is a very elevated coffee-centric scent. I don't know how they did it, but I'm going to tell you that you are absolutely going to love it. You know, those around you when you wear this fragrance may figure out that there's coffee here. Others may not, because while it is very much about the note of coffee, the way that the blend has done does not allow it to be overpowering, overwhelming, or screeching. So here are the notes. At the top, we have cinnamon, orange, and cardamom. At the heart, you have chocolate, coffee, and liquor. And at the base, you have vanilla, tonka bean, and benzoin. I can tell you that you are going to get that spiciness in the opening and throughout the wear of the fragrance. It is a warm, spicy fragrance. And the number one that I pick up here is the note of cinnamon. If you've ever been to the islands and you've had like spiced coffee, at times that is really what I get from this scent. But again, the coffee will go so well with all the other notes. There is no clashing there. That's how they can add notes like chocolate and cinnamon and other spices, and it gives you like a boozed spiced coffee, which I am telling you, you are going to smell absolutely yummy without necessarily smelling like a barista or like a specific coffee. You'll just know that there's other things going on here, and you'll just fall in love. Let us know if you've tried Mocha Latte and your thoughts. The next and last fragrance that I have for you today, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, because it seems to me that lately I find every excuse to add this fragrance. Today I am adding it because it is truly an exquisite gourmand. And this is from Paris Corner, and it is Dulzura. Now, Dulzura is a fragrance that was just launched not too long ago, and I've already reviewed it and I've featured it here several times. This is a fragrance that should immediately remind you of the Cirque du Soleil fragrance. Now, please keep in mind that I don't like gourmands that make me smell like food. That is not what I'm into. But with this fragrance, I've had to make the exception. But this is not a scent that will make you, in my opinion, on my skin and to my nose, it will not make you smell like a specific dish. It's going to make you smell like a whole collection of desserts. And I have discussed that with you time and time again. So let me share the notes. At the top, we have buttermilk and black pepper. At the heart, cake, vanilla, and whipped cream. And at the base, musk and amber. And I'm not going to repeat everything that I've told you in the past and that I tell you all the time. But what I can tell you is that picture yourself at the fair and all of the different desserts that you could really enjoy at a big and good fair. And that is what you're going to get in this scent at the dry down, truly. You're going to get a buttered, warm popcorn, cotton candy, all a good sundae with a ton of toppings, a candied apple, all of the yummy desserts that you can sniff and you can also pick up at a fair, combined together. That is what you're going to get at the dry down of this scent. Truly an incredible, incredible gourmand that will make you smell like food though. So that is the one condition to enjoying this fragrance. Let us know if you've picked up Dulzura and your thoughts. All right, fam, so we've reached the end of today's video, and I just wanted to come on here today and share with you some gourmands that I think are perfect for the fall, winter, and opening of spring seasons. These are gourmands that they're not like your regular gourmands. They're not all going to make you smell like food, but they are definitely going to give you that yummy vibe. And they are exquisitely done, very elevated, very unforgettable, just incredibly nicely done scent that will make you feel rather special. If you are a gourmand lover, I hope that you enjoyed this. Let us know if you've tried any of these incredible gourmands or if you added any to your wish list and why. As always, thank you so much for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.